The real estate sector is going through a harrowing time yet again. The IL&FS crisis has brought fissures out in the open, prompting NBFCs and banks to hold back from lending as aggressively. That means projects can get stuck and there are fewer buyers. But is it yet another case of a few rotten apples spoiling the entire basket? Let's ask Irfan Razack. He's the chairman and MD of the Prestige Group. Mr. Razack, thanks very much for taking out the time. Let's hear it from you with regards to the on-ground situation. While we've been talking about, how there has been some stress, how a few of the developers and the kind of exposures that they have, are questionable. What's the sense that you could give us with regards to your individual outlook and how you are placed as a company?
See, if you look at us as a company, I think we have done pretty well. And even we had a recent launch and that has met with an excellent response. And we've managed to tie up very good sales. Now, if you look at the overall atmosphere, there is a whole lot of talk, a little bit of stress. But then I believe that in any business, what really does happen is these are phases that go on. And this is one phase where I believe that everybody needs to look at how to consolidate themselves, how to actually try and concentrate and see how delivery happens first instead of chasing the next and the next project. So that way, I believe it'll be a sort of a good period now, since the money supply also is more restricted to collections that come from customers and a little bit of supplement from banks. But the rest of it is dependent on how efficiently you conduct your business, how efficiently you're able to collect the monies that are due to you, and also build the development that you have committed, build the apartments that you've committed, and deliver. And the focus should be only on delivery. Apart from that, of course, you need to have a bit of a mix of how to see the growth comes in. But I think this phase in the next, I think it's like I said, it's a phase. So maybe the next 6 months or next 4 quarters, what everybody needs to do is, instead of looking at more and more growth, they have to see how they're able to consolidate their positions and focus on delivery.
But how does one do that, Mr. Razack, if the banks are starting to get a little bit more picky and choosy about which developer they want to lend to? I mean, if you're wanting developers to complete their projects and deliver on time, there has to be a continuous stream of funding that comes their way, which is a bit questionable right now.
Now, the stream of money that has to come is because all developers have done pre-sales. So the first dependency is, instead of becoming inefficient, try and be more efficient, try and see that you collect the money that's due to you. And apart from that, if things are going well and construction is progressing, banks do look at it objectively. They will, of course, not put in money where they feel there's a risk. But wherever they feel that there is a funding gap and it's a genuine funding gap and this needs to be supported, I think there is money in the system. It all depends. But in case money has been taken out and diverted for something else, that's where the pain comes in.
Let's talk about demand, Mr. Razack. I mean, while we're talking about, how the banks are funding and how the inventory is there in the system. What about the demand pickup? Obviously, calendar year 2017 saw unprecedented numbers in terms of decadal lows, in terms of launches, demand, housing price inflation lower than per capita income growth. Do you see all of that changing materially for the industry as a whole? Mortgages were low.
See, the best part today is the demand is, whatever demand that there is, it is real. It is real in the sense that the people who are buying are people who definitely need a home. And the investor demand has dropped. It's obvious because they don't see too much of a growth in the short term. And I've always said this time and again, that real estate is not short-term play. It is always a long-term play. And anybody who even does invest in real estate for getting some gains has to have a longer horizon. Now, if they are looking at a shorter horizon, it'll only give pain and create more trouble. So I would say whoever today is buying for themselves. If it's an investor that's looking at a longer term horizon. And at the end of the day, I'll promise you there will be growth, there will be benefits to all. But and then the next thing is that delivery has to happen. The most important is delivery has to happen. Delivery has to happen the way it has been promised. And the customers who have chosen good locations, the developers, the track record of developers who delivered in the past, evaluated that and put in their money. I don't think there's any stress for them. And it's vice versa, because if developers also have done the sales and they do their cash tie-ups properly, the money will keep coming and there won't be any stress on the projects.
Couple of industry-related questions, Mr. Razack. Good morning, Neeraj here. Firstly, we've been talking about how there would be a shift towards from the small to the large consolidation of within the industry as well. With the stress existing in the system right now due to the liquidity issues, do you think that will be heightened, wherein large companies who can conduct projects, do RERA formalities quickly and efficiently will now become bigger and better?
It's not about big or small or large or this thing. In fact, sometimes I believe if you're a smaller company, you're able to manage your situation far better. But the thing is, it's how efficiently you do it and how professionally you do it. There are times that people are not able to see. But today, from an environment of non-compliance and taking it easy, today you have to have the eye on the ball. You have to make sure that in all respects you are compliant. In all respects, you comply with every single detail that you've committed. Customers today are very, very vigilant. Customers are also very well informed. Then there's a lot of easy access to information. So you can't hide anything. And what needs to be done is, you need to have the discipline, the self-discipline, saying that whatever I do will be done as per law, and whatever I do, I'll keep up the commitment in terms of either in timelines or in terms of specifications, in terms of quality. And if you are able to get all these ingredients together, and whether you're a larger company or a smaller company, it does really not matter. But what it means is you need to be professional in doing this. There's no short-term gain in this, or there's no shortcut also to achieve this. It is going to be a slow but painful process to see that you build the homes that you've got into and deliver them to your customer what you promised.
Okay, Mr. Razack, one more question, industry-wide maybe, as an industry captain. We've seen a bunch of auto companies lay off temporary workers because the quantum of work had reduced quite significantly. We know that real estate has also gone through its pain points. Maybe not at Prestige individually, but if you can give me about the Prestige group as well, would be helpful. But industry-wide, do you reckon that either due to contract laborers or otherwise, there have been large job losses?
We can't quantify it just now. See, it's unlike the organized sector industry, where you do have X amount of laborers or X amount of people on your rolls. And in case production is reduced, obviously, since the plant is not working, you have to lay off an X amount of people. But it's in the real estate industry, what does happen, which may not be noticed, which may not be felt, but then the person who feels it is the person at the bottom of the pyramid, is that in case construction activity reduces, in case construction activity slows down, there will be a whole lot of those unorganized sector laborers who will not get the next contract, next job, and that will be a big one. So it's good for the government to see that how if they stimulate this industry, because it's good to see that this industry is sustained, is stimulated. It's actually there's something that has been given here so that there will be no job losses for those people who are really the workers at the bottom of the pyramid, who are the ones who are producing what ultimately we are talking about delivery. So there's a danger there. And if we are alive and awake to it, And if you're able to take corrective measures, I think
Sure.
the long term will be good. Otherwise, there will be a little bit of stress in the system.
Okay. Mr. Razack, we're running short of time, but my last question, leave us with a realistic synopsis of what the on-ground condition is and where does Prestige stand within that whole gamut of things, and your path to growth, how strong is it?
See, I'm one person who is always positive. What I do believe is any business environment has its highs and its has its lows. There will always be some hiccups that you go along. You need to see how you can overcome them, circumvent them, and keep going on. Unlike just calling a doomsday and then creating a panic. See, it's a psychological thing. The moment you start saying that things are not happening well, what really happens is even somebody who wants to buy, especially a real estate product, which is not something which is absolutely essential for somebody to buy or to invest in, and it's if the atmosphere is good and psychologically, mentally they feel yes, it's the right time for them to get in. People will do get in and buy, but then if there's a reverse trend, then obviously the entire thing starts reversing, snowballing on the reverse side. And coming back to our own company, somehow or the other, I believe that we've been able to get the right location, the right product, the right size, the right pricing. And even in the recent launch, as I told you, we've met an extremely good response. And I believe that if we keep producing a good product, if we give a good location, and if we keep a proper pricing, and which a price that cannot never go down, there is no way that you can't succeed. Having said that, yes, we need to see that how we can increase volumes, and we have been able to do that so far successfully. And of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict what's going to happen in the next quarter, but I do believe things will become better and better. And we have to go through certain tight situations. And at least at our company, the situation is not tight at all, and we are doing well. We are expanding. We have now gone into newer geographies like Mumbai and NCR, and we are looking at growing more office property where rentals are quite good. They're quite vibrant, and the take-up of space is pretty quick. And it's a question of just getting in there, doing your job, and then hope that everything works out.